Okay, I know I look tired today. I I woke up early this morning to watch TV. And I didn't take a nap. I'm trying not to take too much naps now. Because every time I do take naps, I always take it around around 1 something a.m. I mean 1 something p.m. or 3, 4, even 5 o'clock, and then I have a hard time sleeping. So last night, I don't know what time I slept, but I know it was past midnight. I'm pretty sure I slept around like 1, 2, maybe even 3 a.m. and then woke up at 6:30 a.m. and fell back asleep for 2, 3 hours and then woke up around, I don't know, 9 o'clock or so, and then just stayed up. I'm still trying to set a sleep schedule. It's hard to sleep when you have anxiety. My mind is not racing, no negative thoughts, anything, nothing like that that's keeping me up. It's just me, me wanting to stay busy. When I mean busy, it's me wanting to get up and do something. It's like my hands. What my mom would say is I have itchy hands and feet, meaning
I can feel nauseated.
my hands has to move, my legs has to walk, my hands have to do
Every
something.
time I
That's
turn
what
my head that
my
way,
mom always says.
I'm
I have itchy hands
when
and
I
feet.
duck
It's like
down or move
I
my
can't
head
I can't
too much.
just do nothing. It's like if I'm at home and there's nothing for me to do, I want to like go for a drive or something. When I say busy, I'm not saying like I go running around the place like I go all crazy. Nothing like that. It's just that I have to I have to do something. If not, I'll feel bored. Like I have nothing to do. So it's sometimes when it's when it's slow at work and there's really nothing to do. When I used to work, I would ask if I can go home, early instead of just staying at work and have nothing to do. Sure, it would be nice to get paid and do nothing, but I would rather just go home and relax. I'm not gonna get paid for going home and relax, but I would rather go home, and relax, use the computer or something instead of being at work just standing there and getting paid to do nothing. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, you must be crazy." It's nice to get paid and do nothing, but at the same time, I wanna show people that someone like me that has a learning disability. I talked about this before. I have a learning disability, so people will look at me and they don't know I have a learning disability. They know and they might say, "Oh, you have a learning disability because you're lazy, you don't want to learn." So by me saying I want to go home, if there's nothing to do at work, that's proof to them that I'm not lazy. Because if I was lazy, I would only want to go to work when there's nothing to do and get paid to stand around. I wouldn't say, "Oh, just let me go home." I would go home when there's nothing to do. But like I say, yes, it's nice to get paid to do nothing. But I would be so bored sometimes. Like when we had nothing to do at work, we just standing around get paid for it. And for me, I would just like walk around, like fill up, like the equipment we use, the printers we use with ink, paper, whatever, clean up the place. But I can only do that for so long, until I'll just say, "God, I just want to just let me go home." Then what's the point of being here if I'm just gonna stay here and clean and fill up the the equipment we use, like the printers, and do maintenance on the equipment. I can only do so much of that over and over. When I can just go home, enjoy the rest of my day, go on somewhere, like go fishing, go for a walk, bike ride, go for a go for a drive, spend time with my family. I don't get paid to spend time with my family, but at the same time, like once you work so many hours, you don't mind taking like a couple of hours or a couple of days off work. So now I'm back into that process. Like I want to do something. I want to I want to get paid. I want to go to work. You know, sometimes when I go for walking around my neighborhood, I get, you know, I feel more relaxed because my legs is doing something. I'm exercising. You know, I might not be running, jogging, or lifting weights or anything like that, but my body is moving. You know, compared to when I was depressed, all I was doing was laying down. You know, all you see me do is like this, you know, like my face. You can tell when someone is um, when someone has depression, you know, their face is always like this. It's not because they're tired, not because they're lazy. It's because they just feel depressed. You know, I when I didn't have depression, I didn't know what it actually felt like. You know, people think that, oh, you have depression, you're just lazy or you're weak-minded, but you know, depression doesn't just affect your mind; it affects your whole body. You know, you think you can't do something, then your body's like, yeah, you can't do anything, so your body just shuts you down. Your brain shuts your whole body down. You're just like this, you know. Like when you watch a lot of my older videos where I would just lay down and then I'll be like scratching my head, like wanting to pull my hair out, and then there was time I can't even get off my bed just to use the bathroom. Went into the bathroom just to use the bathroom was a torture, you know, because it took so much of my body just to get off my bed, put my foot on the floor, and to walk to the bathroom. You know, it's as strange as that sounds. That's how depression works. You know, you feel like your whole body's just weighted down. You know, feel like everything you do, you can't do. If when someone calls you, you feel like you can't even pick up the phone. You know, the most simplest things you can't do. You can't even. For me, I couldn't even get up to use the bathroom. There was time I would feel so depressed. I would even say, what's the point of me brushing my teeth? I'm not going to work. What's the point of me taking a shower? I'm not going to leave the door, walk out the door. What's the point of me getting dressed? I'm just going to lay down on my bed 99% of the time, and the other 1% of the time I'll be either eating or using the bathroom. You know, every other time I'll be in my bed. So that's how my depression got really bad, that, you know, whatever I did was making me depressed. Picking up phone just to look at my phone to see the time made me depressed. I would even say, whoa, what's the point of me looking at what time it is? I have nowhere to go. I'm too scared to leave the house, you know. What's the point of me putting socks on when it's cold? I'm not going to go grab my shoes and go for a walk, you know. What's the point of me, you know, brushing my teeth? You know, I feel sick to my stomach if I eat certain food. You know, I can just do this, I can just do that. What's the point of me doing this? You know, it's just that depression that, you know, took over my body, my mind, and then all that symptoms came. You know, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I had the anxiety, the panic attack, and then the depression came along after. You know, it wasn't the depression that got to me first, because I always had learning disability. I had learning disability since I was middle school. You know, maybe even even in my preteens, I still have learning disability. But ever since I had learning disability, I never allowed my disability to make me feel depressed. You know, when I was in high school, middle school, that's when I learned I have learning disability. Sure, there was it could have got me feeling depressed. I cut school. I didn't go to school because I felt like I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't understand it. Then my teacher was telling me, you know, not that I didn't try, but I feel like every time I try, the harder it got. You know, when they explained it to me, I just couldn't get it. It's like I would ask over and over, can you explain it to me? And my teachers wouldn't get upset. Even my classmates, my friends would try to help me, but my brain just couldn't process anything that I was trying to learn. You know, so I'm surprised it didn't make me depressed, but it made me realize, that I had to do something else, so I started cutting school. I didn't even finish high school, drop out of high school. When I was in middle school, I said enough is enough. I was like, when they have after school summer job work programs, I did that. So I did some summer school for like an hour or two, and then I went straight to work. Back then minimum wage was like $4.50 or something. Back in the early '90s. So I did that, and it paid off because I might have a learning disability, but I didn't allow myself to give up. I gave up in school, but I also said to myself, I might have a hard time learning, but let me see how I'll handle working. Like when I'm working, have someone show me something and do one-on-one instead of having like all these background noises, like having other students like talking over me, having distractions. Like my mind's always like focusing on this and that, and that's like my mind drifts off. That's what happens when you have learning disability. Your mind can't focus on one thing, but I'm not one of those kids that gets all hyper and running around the place, but I'm one of those person that wants to do something to prove to people that just because I have a learning disability doesn't mean I'm lazy. So, I still have learning disability. Whatever I learn now, I learn off myself. Well, I'm not teaching myself. I'm watching like YouTube videos, and I'm listening to what they say, and then I play it over and over till I understand it. So in a way, I'm teaching myself by watching someone else, if that makes sense. That person that's talking is not talking directly to me. So in a way, I'm just like paying attention to someone else talking, and then I'm listening from watching YouTube. But the depression side of me is not really there as much. Sometimes it still gets to me once in a while, but then something snaps in my brain. My brain been rewired by myself. So the cure for anxiety is the person that you look in the mirror. That person is yourself. You can cure your own anxiety. If you need help for someone to go for a walk with you, take someone with you. But don't always like depend on that person. Use that person to help you take that next step out the door. But remember, use your own legs, your own hands. Use your leg to get off the bed. Use your hand to put on your shoes, your clothes. Open the door with your own hand. Use your mouth to say, hey, I need help. Use your eyes to see your surroundings. Use your ears to listen to your own positive thoughts. Use your nose to smell your surrounding, to get you in the moment, not into like worrying about whatever else someone's telling you. Block out that noise that you shouldn't be listening to, like people that tell you can't, pretend you only hear the word you can, don't hear the word you can't. But if they keep saying you can't, try to use that to motivate yourself by saying, you know what, you're right, I can't, but I will. Instead of saying, yeah, you're right, I can't, and do nothing about it. So instead of saying, yeah, you're right, I can't do it, go up and just do what you think you can't do, and then come back and then just sit down, and you don't even have to say a word. Just do it, and they're gonna see you do it, and then you might realize that person that said you can't do it was actually motivating you, not in the way that you wish they did, but they're trying to fire you up for that. Some people will always make you depressed. You can say, oh, well, I just went for a half an hour walk. They might say, well, why not extra 5 minutes? You go for extra 5 minutes. They might say, why not 40 minutes, and then they're gonna keep pushing you. Those are the people you don't need. But once they push you so much and you do it, and then they go say, "See, I knew you can do it." Those are the people you listen to. But if they keep pushing you over and over, no matter how good you do, they're not happy with whatever you're doing. Those are the people you don't need, because once you keep trying, they should be happy. But yeah, like I mentioned, learning disability. It didn't cause me to have any depression, because my mind wouldn't allow me. My mind wouldn't allow me to have depression. My mind's like, oh, you have depression. I mean, you have learning disability, but you might not have working disability. Meaning, you should be. Let's see how well you can do working. $4.50 from back in the 90s is not that much as well. But I was taking public transportation to go to work. I wasn't making much, but whatever I made, I earned. And I proved to myself that my learning disability might stop me from finishing school, but it didn't stop me from going to work. It didn't stop me from proving to myself that I'm not lazy. It didn't prove to anyone that might have thought I was lazy. So if you have learning disability and people are saying, "Oh, you're lazy," trust me, they don't know what is inside our mind. It's easy for someone to say, "Oh, you're just lazy," but until they put your shoes on, walking your foot one day, they won't understand. So I would say ignore those people that criticize you in a bad way. No matter how well you do in life, they're always gonna put you down, because they might not be happy with their own life. Some people that are billionaires, how they might have all this money in the world, but they might not have something that you have, and that money can't buy what you have, So I say, so when someone asks me, "But you're not making much," I was like, "Well, I'm not making much, but I'm happy with the people I'm around." Like when I used to work, if I'm having a bad day at work, I have my coworkers that I consider family. They always make me happy. They never let me, they will never put me down if they see me upset. But a lot of time I'm never upset at work. But if I see a coworker at work that's having a hard time, I will go up to them, and work with them. I won't ask them what's wrong unless they tell me. I would just go up to them, help them out, ask them if I can go, if they need me to help them with anything. They say sure, and then they will tell me what's wrong, without me asking, because they will trust me not to give them a hard time. But anyways, I've been yapping for almost 19 minutes, so I'm just gonna go for this quick walk, go back home and enjoy my lunch. My dinner.